You stated in a previous interview that you had with Jeff Hobson that the Bengals kind of become uncomfortable during the opening days of free agency. I just kind of wanted to get your take on what do you believe makes them feel that way?
Well, I think a lot of teams do. I remember saying that, and that was just really towards the Bengals because that's what the question was. But a lot of teams don't want to deal in that first day because it's like the Wild Wild West. I mean, even if you come into it saying we're not going to spend a lot of money this year, if there's a player that you want, now you got this 2-day window to sort of negotiate before free agency starts. So a lot of things happen in that 2 day, and you may say, well, we're only going to offer this guy $30 million, and next thing you know, you're offering $50 because the price went up. So teams like the Bengals, who, prime example, like I'm reading now, people want them to go out and sign a receiver, or should they get Alshon Jeffrey, or should they get this guy, that guy?
Right.
That guy's not going to, whoever it is, he's not going to come in making more than AJ Green. Now his price tag might be at that point because of multiple teams may want him. So the Bengals are going to wait, they're going to settle in, and they might not get the top guy at whatever position.
Right.
But they're going to, once it settles down, they're going to have their list of guys, and they're going to get a good player to bring in that's going to complement their team because they feel like they draft well. So when I say that they aren't really comfortable dealing with that, no, they don't want to be pushed into a deal. They want to think about it. If you're an agent and you provide a creative way to get a contract done, they're going to say, okay, let's talk in the morning. Well, as an agent, you want to get the deal done right now. So they're very, I think they're sharp. They think about things, and it has to fit in with their team. And so that's one thing. They're not going to make a bad decision based on the guys that they have, and they're thinking ahead, hey, this guy's going to be up soon, and they sort of slot things out. So, no, they aren't comfortable with, hey, we got 3 other offers over here with this amount guaranteed. What are you going to do? They're not just going to cave into the pressure is what I meant.
Okay.
But, there's a lot of teams that aren't comfortable once that free agency starts. And there's some that aren't that good that need to spend. Like you saw Jacksonville and Oakland last year spend an incredible amount of money because they had to get to the floor of the salary cap. So they were giving guys like crazy bonuses, and it really set the free agent market, and it sort of made it a little crazy. So teams wanted to wait for another week so things settled down. And that's probably what the Bengals are best at, is just waiting the market to come to them and getting a good player to fill in.
Right, and I agree with that approach because, like you said, during those opening days, you see some gigantic contract numbers out there. Like you said, they're not gonna want to pay a guy like Alshon Jeffrey more than an AJ Green. So I totally agree with that strategy.
You can't do that. You're gonna mess up your team in general, and that's always good. When your best players, you always want your best players or your highest paid players to be your best players. So Geno Atkins, what he's making. So anybody that you bring in, you're not gonna have Geno Atkins feeling weird, but you're not going to have AJ Green feeling weird.
Right.
You're not going to have Montez because he's coming up soon. And so you're going to bring in a guy, he has to fit in, number one, to your team. And then the salary structure is very important because you're going to have players that are very important to you looking around.
Right.
And even though one player's salary doesn't matter to the next because, AJ Green's salary could be outdated, but he's one of the higher paid receivers. And I'm pretty sure if they bring somebody in, they're not going to have somebody coming in and trump his deal, So, and even when he was a rookie, that's how I knew they would never go out and sign a guy that was a big-time free agent because AJ is one of the best receivers in the league. He was on a rookie deal.
Right.
And that was just going to screw a lot of things up. So teams think about that. They just don't go out and spend crazy for nothing. And I think that's one of the things that the fans kind of miss out on is they think that, oh, this guy's available, we need a receiver, get him. Well, no, it can have an effect on your team and your salary cap going down the line. So I think they've done a good job of structuring things and not really being at a point where they were ever up against the cap and they were ever forced to sign.
Right. Appreciate that.
Agents may not like it and players may not like it, but from their side and their point of view, that's why I say they don't like to be rushed into a deal because it has to fit in the puzzle. And not every team does that. So, every team they can do what they need to do, I guess.
Right. So, we talked about some of those marquee free agents and even just basic free agents. I kind of wanted to get your opinion on if the Bengals are considered a preferred destination by outside free agents.
I mean, I can't answer for everybody. I would just say that if the money is right, players will go anywhere. Right. Number one, players. I don't care. I mean, they all travel in the off season and things like that. So I mean, you can go to whatever. If you would love Miami, you can always go to Miami. Right. Players just want to go and play, and especially if they're a free agent, they want to get paid. But the Bengals are a team that's going to win. They can sell on a player that they'll be in the playoffs most years. They have attractive players. I mean, people know A.J. Green. They know Andy Dalton. Right. They have very good coaches. And so I would think it's a preferred destination if the money's right. But they probably do appeal to those second level or, second tier free agents because those are the guys that aren't getting the top dollar, but they want to go somewhere where they can win. Right. And so at that point, I would say, yes, they are the type of organization that's going to attract the right guys. Just like Green Bay. Is Green Bay a preferred destination? Players saying out the box, well, I want to go to Green Bay. Probably not because of where it is. But if the money's right or if the money's not right, if it's a minimum deal and you got a choice between a team that doesn't win and Green Bay that's talking to you, you're probably going to go to Green Bay because you got good coaching, you got a good culture, and you're probably going to be in the playoffs, but you're going to win. And so if you're not going to make a bunch of money, you might as well go to the place that you're going to feel comfortable and win. And I think that's where the Bengals have, I think that's where Marvin Lewis is taking his team, where just making it to the playoffs is boring. Right. But he appeals to players, and the coaches appeal to players, and the players here around the league are very, they're popular around the league, so they can get free agents, and I do think they're preferred place that way.
Nice. So with the free agency process, which party reaches out first? Is it typically the organization, or is it you as the agent?
Depends on your player. If you got a good player, they're going to reach out. Right. And if you don't have a good player, then when you got to reach out, it's not good. So, I mean, there's always conversations at the combine, that's not really legal to, but people can say, who do you have this year? And you can tell them, and by the way they shake their head or no, yes or no, like, who would be interested. And most people have friends around the league that you'll know what team needs what. Right. So they may know what you want. How much you think that guy will make? And I can say, well, I think he'll make $9 million a year. And I mean, conversations happen, but teams usually reach out when they want your play. Good players attract a lot of attention, and players that don't have that leverage, if nobody's calling, then it's not good. It's not good on the money tip. But if there's, teams, if you got a good player, you'll get a lot of attention. And that's what I always tell players, sometimes the agent role, people are, if you sign with me, I'm going to get you here. Nah. I tell the players, it's all because of you. If you're a good player, then you're going to get attention, and you're going to get people calling.
Okay. So obviously the Bengals have a couple of good free agents themselves getting ready to hit the market. We have Dre Kirkpatrick, Kevin Zeitler, and Andrew Whitworth. Obviously, it seems like some of those players could all be back, or some might not be back. But in your opinion, which player or players do you see returning to the Bengals?
I would say Whitworth first, just because he's been here so long. Right. He's going to get attention elsewhere, but when you're that. And I always tease him because he's gray now and I played with him. But when you're that old, you don't want to switch up and have to take a new route to work in the morning. And the comfort is really big. So I would be shocked if he went somewhere else just for a bigger payday, which he probably can get somewhere else. But the Bengals need him, and he probably wants to finish his career here. Dre is going to be pricey because any starting corner that hits free agency with his size, no matter what people think, he's going to attract a lot of teams. Right. So and then the same thing with Zeitler. I think he will probably outperform, or he's outperformed any kind of contract layout that the Bengals have had, unless they get it done early. Which, if I'm his agent, I wouldn't sign it now because you're right next to free agency. So unless it's a top deal. Right. But yeah, I would say Whitworth would probably be the best chance, and and I don't know any of this. I haven't talked to anybody, either players, but I would say Witt would have the best chance of coming back, and then they got Dre back. That would be shocking because I think he'll have some good market value out there.
Right, I totally agree with that. I definitely, with your prognosis of Kevin Zeitler, I definitely think that it's going to be hard for him to come back, being that Kalichi Osemele just received $11 million as a guard in Oakland. So I definitely think that it'll be hard pressed to kind of retain him. And like you said, with Dre, it's a cornerback market where those guys make premium dollars, so it will be kind of tough to bring him back as well.
Yeah, and then the cap goes up. So I think they offered him whatever they offered Zeitler last year. I mean, people thought that was a good deal, but the kid in Pittsburgh just signed a $50 million deal. So he's probably thinking like, whoa, well, if I wait next year, the cap's going up, and he probably get paid more than that. So, I mean, that might be something that the team would be uncomfortable paying.
Right.
But it is what it is. You can't control the market and what it's going to bring. So you can only stick to your principles as a player and as a team, and hopefully it meets. But it will be tough for those guys coming up in their first free agency to take a lesser deal unless they really wanted to be here.
Right. Cool. So